Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we interview some of the most interesting people that have said yes to opportunities in their life. We hope that through these stories you can learn to create your own destiny by saying yes along the way. Join us as we explore the new series covering topics such as passion, integrity, and hard work. I'm your host, Jim Riley, and I hope you enjoy these interviews as much as I do. I believe that everyone has an important message worth hearing. Hello and welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast. Thank you for tuning in. You know, my buddy Mike Fallett earlier this year helped me publish a book, and man, I think he's got over 300 books he's published. This is I don't want to say it's a newer business for him. He's been after it for a while, but he's not one of those big time New York, LA publishers, you know, that everybody seems to go to. And he's just seen so much success. I enjoyed the process. And within that process, I've gotten to know a lot of people before, after, during, and I've got a fellow member in the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate that is also has a book coming out, and I've got Klayton Carroll on the line today to talk about that. Clay, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How about yourself, Jim?
Not too bad. So you're in the midst of this book process, writing, with Dream Star Publishers with Mike. How's it going?
It's going very well right now. We're making some good progress. I've got my initial edits back, and I'm looking over it and making sure my voice is in there the way I want it. And I'm pretty happy with the way things are going right now.
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting process because you start reliving some of those stories that you forgot about, or those lessons, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I forgot about that. Wow, that was pretty meaningful to me, you know. And then you get to put it on paper.
Yeah, it's definitely opened up my eyes, and like you said, it's helped me remember some old stories from some of my coaching days and lessons I've learned through that, and what I'm kind of trying to impart back through the book to future players.
Yeah. Well, look, everybody knows when they listen to my show, we're going to get a history lesson on my guest. So how about we start with the history lesson on you? I don't need to read your whole bio here. Let's hear about your beginnings and maybe what got you into the military and some of your early career beginnings.
Sure. I'm originally from Maryland. I migrated out here to Montana. Grew up near the beach, playing sports all my life. Lacrosse was my favorite one. That was my passion. Ended up starting coaching. Actually, I think I was 16 years old, helped coach my sister's soccer and lacrosse team. And that's kind of where I started coaching and enjoying that. Joined the military right out of high school, got sent to Montana where I learned to build nuclear ICBMs. And from there, went down to college at Montana State. I helped found the first youth lacrosse league in the state of Montana, Gallatin Valley Lacrosse League. Mm-hmm. We did that in 2002 is when I got that up and running. And then I was one of the initial members of the Montana State men's lacrosse team. So I got to play for a couple years there, was captain of the defense my senior year, won a honorable mention All-American awards through that. After college, I ended up joining the Army, and I flew Apache helicopters for them for 8 years. That was a pretty cool job. I really enjoyed that one. After that, I met my college sweetheart again through it, and we ended up getting married, and we moved back up to Montana. I was in Colorado at the time, but we came back to Montana, where I became a sheriff's deputy. So wow. Going down some different routes here, and did that for 5 years, 3 in Montana, transferred down to Colorado for 2, where I was a deputy down there as well, kind of near Aspen, Grand Junction, and that side of the state. And I finished my time there. We moved back up to Montana again, where I was learning to take over the family restaurant here. Definitely not for me. I enjoyed the process of learning the business and how to run it. My passion was definitely not in food, though. It was still in athletics and performance. And one of the things I had kind of thought about time and again was, hey, what can I do to take all this experience I had? Because I had continued coaching through the years. I coached high school soccer, lacrosse. I assisted with my college team for a year after I graduated. And so through that, I wanted to take all these lessons I had learned and put them into something. And so my degrees, I have two. I got a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in psychology. And so just learning through time, hey, why did I perform this way? Why does a player do this? Why does he do that? I kind of just wanted to put it all together. And so the thought of a book came up, and it was like, well, why can't I coach people in, one-on-one and help them learn some of these lessons that I've learned through the years and help them become better performers? Because part of the thing I had thought about was, what if I had learned all this stuff at a young age? What if I learned the discipline and utilizing my time properly, just in focus? What would have happened if I would have learned that? So I kind of wanted to impart that, and that's what started the whole process of Ready Player Win.
I love it. Now, there's a lot of stuff to unpack there. Appreciate the overview of your life story and some of your humble beginnings. I like how you rolled through, running the lacrosse team and having a lot of success there. And, I joined the Army and, flew Apache helicopters. And then you just keep breezing right by that and into the next thing. First of all, let's talk a little bit about your athletic experience in high school and your success there, because especially in lacrosse, it's interesting, especially in Montana, the importance of every sport, but lacrosse has really seemed to risen to the top of in my mind, male athletics and programs in some of these high schools. Kids are really enjoying that. So tell us a little bit about that experience and what you garnered from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Lacrosse for me, I picked it up kind of late in Maryland. Maryland's considered the capital of the lacrosse world, with Baltimore being there and all the colleges, University of Maryland, Johns Hopkins, Towson, UMBC. So it's a very big deal out there. I grew up playing at what I thought was pretty high level. I did really well. Learned a lot of lessons through that. And so when I finally got out to Montana, it was kind of, lacrosse wasn't here yet at the time. And so right around 2002, it hit me, and it's like, hey, let's start a lacrosse league here in Bozeman. And so I went ahead and I started gathering meetings, going through the local community, putting out information, trying to gather interest around town. And it turned out I had a pretty decent amount of support. In 2003, that was our inaugural year. And we initially had to start as a summer sport because we couldn't compete with the spring sports when lacrosse is traditionally played. So we ran through that for a couple years. I was the first president of the board there, and eventually I had to give it up when I left for the Army again. But they took it over, it progressed, and it's kind of funny because one of my rivals at the University of Montana, Kevin Flynn, he ended up taking the time to go town to town to town and start teaching lessons and getting interest from all the other major towns in the state. And he's kind of the guy who's got the big boom going in the state with lacrosse. So credit where it's due. I mean, he earned it. He definitely put in the work to get lacrosse spread through the state. And it blew up. Montana kids, they love it, and they're doing awesome. My buddy who I played with, he was one of my groomsmen in my wedding, but he's the head coach of MSU men's lacrosse right now. He runs Treasure State Lacrosse, and he puts together all the clinics and takes the travel teams. So it's doing really well right now. I'm pretty excited for what lacrosse has become from our humble beginnings.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. We don't often think about who introduces a sport to a different state and how its popularity took off. So interesting to hear your involvement in that sport, especially in this state known for other things, right? Okay, so then you just kind of skipped into, I flew Apache helicopters and then moved on. I mean, look, I don't know how many enlisted servicemen and women there are, but not everybody's in that level of a helicopter. So what happened in the military? Did you just excel day one, or, how did you become a part of that team?
No, actually, I struggled in flight school. I didn't do too well at first. I didn't have the discipline at the time to know how to buckle down and study like I needed to. I needed a swift kick in the butt to get the job done. My commander definitely put it to me one day, and it was more or less, you're going to sink or swim here. So I hope you swim, but it's up to you at this point. So it was on me. I had to learn some self discipline, learn how to force myself to study, focus out of the distractions I had around me, and buckle down on my studies. And I did it, and I ended up doing pretty well once I graduated and moved on to my unit and began flying.
Clay, with so many distractions, I'm sure being in the study hall in the military, a lot of youth in there. What tactics did you employ to buckle down, because it's kind of like you said, sink or swim, and a lot of pressure there to perform from a study perspective.
Yeah, no, you were expected to perform at a high level from day one. The physical aspect of flying the helicopter, I got very well. I understood that. It was the knowledge and the book knowledge and studying that's what I struggled with at first. To flashcards.
Mm.
I learned to use flashcards very well to do my studying. They saved me. I will definitely say that. But it came down to that pivot in my thinking, and that I refused to fail. To me, I never failed before, and this was a very large endeavor on my part, and I had committed a lot to getting in. I had major eye surgery to get in. The testing I had to go through just to even get accepted to flight school. To me, that all kind of hit me then, and I refused to fail at that point. So that's when I pivoted, and I said, this is going to get done. I will pass.
Hmm. Do you have a mental mantra when you say I refuse to fail, right? Nobody wants to fail, but so many of us do. Is there a mantra that you have, or how do you get into the mindset of refusing to fail?
For me, it became a point that was my mantra, actually. I refuse to fail. I actually, another flashcard, I put that up on my bathroom mirror. And every single morning when I woke up, I looked at that and I repeated it to myself. I refuse to fail. And so I took that in my day, and every single day that was what pushed me through, was that I refuse to fail. That technique of visualization and my affirmation every morning of telling myself I refuse to fail, that drove me through.
I don't think people realize how important it is to have those mantras, whether it's on your mirror, next to your bed, in your office, how important it is to repeat those mantras and visualize that. I've had what you believe is what you will achieve in front of me for the last 30 plus years. It hasn't failed me yet, so I love hearing that was part of your routine, especially at that level of pressure to succeed. I don't want to dig too deep into the rest of your military training, but I do want to thank you for your service. And I see on your bio, you jumped right into law enforcement. It seems like a natural progression for a lot of people that come out of the military. Is that what it was for you, or did you have a strong desire to get into law enforcement?
At first, I didn't. We moved back up here to eastern Montana due to the oil field. The oil boom was going on at the time in the Bakken.
Mm-hmm.
And we had triplets born at the time. And so for us, it was a security thing. Hey, if we go up there, I know I can get work and I can get paid really well doing good work, probably working in the safety field based on my aviation safety background. So that was the intent. But as I'm looking through jobs, I saw that a sheriff's deputy position had opened. And, I grew up, my dad was a fireman for 25 years. So I kind of got the gist of what was necessary for that. Talked to my wife and decided that, yes, this is something I genuinely want to do. I had some passion towards it, and it was exciting. So I went ahead and did it, and I very much enjoyed my time as a sheriff's deputy.
So then you get out. Hey, I'm going to jump into the family business, and this is something I haven't done before. Seems like fun.
I knew it wouldn't be all fun. I knew it would involve lots of hard work. I was very realistic about it going in. I knew the restaurant business was tough, as you can attest to as well. It requires a lot of time involved. And it was. I mean, there were good days, there were bad days, but I learned a lot from the process, and I'm grateful for what I came away with from that.
Yeah. Clay, what I do know about you, and we spent a little time together in your restaurant business, is that you're very passionate about everything you do. in my mind, you're all in. You not only did you put your time and energy into the project, but you invested dollars, and it showed. Your staff proved that to me when I met your staff, and the type of person you were and your commitment to it. So I'm sure you did not take it lightly to move on from that family business. And I'm excited to see and hear about where you're going now. I've pulled up your website, your READY.PLAYER.WIN.com website. Let's talk about that, because we've heard about your past and the things that you've overcome and your successes. This is a culmination of all that, I would assume.
Yes, this is all the lessons I've learned: military, college degrees, law enforcement, flying. I put all these lessons together, and I feel like I've got a lot of experience in this, and I wanted to share it.
Well, let's talk through some of the things that somebody can expect to see when they go through your website. And I know you're in the middle of your book, and I want to talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about what Ready Player Win is and how that can help others.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ready Player Win, it's a mental performance coaching program that it's here to provide people with expert guidance, both mentally and physically. It's curated specifically for you to challenge yourself, to practice healthy habits, and be purposeful in your actions. The program will provide you with the tools you need, not only to grow as an athlete, but as an individual as well.
So let's put that in real-time application, right? So somebody's playing lacrosse, high school. They're okay, but they want to be better. Do they come to you and you help improve their game?
Yes, absolutely. So what I want to teach these athletes, these individuals that want to excel and reach the next level, I'm going to teach them, how do you deal with outside distractions? How do you build reliable routines? I want you to understand your purpose. I want you to learn how to place your focus where you want it. And I want you to filter decision making in a way that it leverages results for you.
So, I'm just thinking about my own struggles as an athlete, right? Today was one of those days, especially in Montana, it's light until 10:15. You're watching the big moon come up last night. It's like, well, the last thing I want to do is go to bed, but yet I've got a 5 a.m. wake up call to get my workout in. If I miss that call,
right,
that workout's going to suffer because it's going to happen at some point later in the day. I mean, how do you develop the discipline for what appears to be the simplest of tasks, and that's just getting up on time?
It seems harder than it actually really is. The biggest thing is just do it. Just get started. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Just get started. Set that alarm for 5 a.m. Is it going to hurt the first couple of days? Yeah, it's going to hurt. You're not going to feel happy, but you're going to get into that routine. And once you get into that routine, your body adapts. People don't realize how strong their body and their minds actually are until they challenge them. Once they challenge them and they see, hey, I can do this. This actually wasn't very bad. I had to learn that in flight school because I had a 3:30 a.m. wake up call because I had to make it to the bus on time so I could be at the flight line on time. Mm-hmm. It hurt. It hurt very bad the first probably month, but you get used to it. You adapt and you become good at it, and you learn how to manage it at that point.
The way I see that is, especially with athletes when they're on a individual training program, is just learning accountability. They're accountable to themselves to get up, to make it to that bus on time so they can get to their destination, which this could just be getting up on time to make it to a class at the gym or something like that. But you've got to hold yourself accountable and learning the skills to be accountable.
Absolutely. If you don't have that passion inside yourself, that desire to become better, to reach that next level, none of it will work. You have to decide to yourself and tell yourself, I'm tired of things the way they were. I want things to be better. Once you decide that in your own mind, now we can make progress. Now we can move forward. If you get to that point, you're golden. That's the hardest part, is making that leap and deciding, I want to do it.
So, Clay, if somebody comes to you and they just haven't got to that decision yet, Are you able
Mhm.
to help them find that decision? Because I think, people are really skeptical of their own abilities. And I see that every day, the business I'm in, coaching, consulting, talking on a lot of podcasts, people are like, wow, I can't believe you did that. Well, you're capable of doing that too if you put your mind to it. And I'm just
Right.
curious, are you able to help get people to that decision point of understanding that they can and will win?
Yes, absolutely. And it just starts with the small things. Just pick, if you're not quite there yet, you're not quite ready to make that fully, pick one little thing a day and start working towards it. I'm going to drink a gallon of water today. If I don't do anything else, I'm just going to drink that gallon of water, and I've now made myself 1% better that day. And as you get along with the thing and you're realizing, hey, I can drink this gallon of water. Maybe I should add like a 15-minute workout in. I have 15 minutes I can put into a workout.
Hmm.
You start just slowly adding in bit by bit by bit. Once you realize, hey, I can do this, I am successful in this, then you're ready to make that jump. And that's what I'm trying to teach people, is that as long as you put in the effort and you do just a little bit every day, every day, every day, it's all going to compound and it's become this one big success eventually.
I have the benefit of having a personal coach for my Spartan training. And what's interesting to me is, and this is just a compliment to what you're doing and the services that you provide. But what's interesting to me with my coach is he's got me on these workouts. They don't make any sense. Every month he sends me a whole bunch of videos because he's remote and workouts and I'm just putting all my confidence into them and nothing else. But what absolutely blows me away is when I get to the starting line of the race and I'm off the line and going and performing, and I see at the finish line the results. It's like, wow, you know, this did make a difference. And it's kind of like what you're saying, just get going a little bit at a time, add 15 minutes of this, drink your water, do this. And all of a sudden, this puzzle comes together right when it needs
Mm-hmm.
to.
Yep.
And that's what I love about coaching programs. We take experts like
Yep.
yourself, utilize your background and everything that you've learned to put us in the place to succeed. So I want to give you a compliment, but if you want to expand on that, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you portray that to your own students.
So the biggest thing for me to show them success is for me to, I have to exhibit it as well. I have days where I might not be feeling 100%, but I still give 100%. I have to put that in day after day. And I feel that if I can show my players, my students, that I believe in myself to that level, they in turn will find that self-confidence in themselves. And so that's how I transfer that. I've learned this lesson. I know this point. So now let me show you how to do it. And maybe some of this, what I have, can rub off on you, and you can gain this and you can exceed at an earlier time than I did.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that you exhibit that every day. I follow you on Instagram. I know your background, but I'm just like, you got the kids, you got the wife, you got the house, you got the business. Okay, you're back to the kids. All in one day, you're shifting gears. 5 to 10 times. Like, wow, how do you even manage that? But to your point, that you're exhibiting exactly what you're asking your players to do on a daily basis.
Right, right. And it's not always easy. I coach hockey over here. I'm an assistant coach. I actually got brought on as the mental performance and strength training coach for our hockey team out here. And our practices are 9 at night. We're the junior gold team. So basically the varsity team, they're the kids that can afford to be at the later practice. I'm tired by the end of the night. I'm exhausted. 9 a.m. or I'm sorry, 9 p.m. I've been dealing with kids all day. I've been dealing with work, and now I have to go deal with a whole nother set of my kids. But I want them to succeed. I have that drive that I want them to do well. And so because of that, I bring it to them and I give them everything I've got. And just day after day, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and build on those building blocks and ultimately get to the place where you need to be. So tell me about this book you're working on. We talked a lot about your website. I'm sure that it is a enhancement to what you're doing in your website, but what can we expect in the book when it comes out? And we'll make sure we can give a plug for that for your website, so when it does come out, people can get it.
Absolutely. The book Ready Player Win is about developing mental advantages in high school and college athletes. We're finding more and more nowadays that the physical component of athletics has more or less stayed the same. Everyone knows they need to be fit, they need to be in shape, they need to be strong, they need to have good cardio, good flexibility. But what a lot of teams have not developed yet is their mental performance program. And they're finding more and more that the mental game is 10 times more important than the physical game in the long run. If you have a mentally strong player, your team's going to do way better than it would if he wasn't mentally strong. So the book is, it's a basic level overview of here are some tips and tricks. I offer you breathing techniques. I offer you tips and tricks on goal setting, scheduling, visualization, things you can and shouldn't be doing to help maximize your time and utilize things better. So the book in itself is designed to raise that high school or college player to the next level, to give them that mental advantage that their opponent might not have.
Now, Clay, I'm a 50-year-old athlete. I don't want to feel left out. Will this book help me with my athleticism and my programs?
100%. I guarantee you and I could probably read the entire book today and be like, I could have used that the other day. There are little things in there that you just might not think of every now and again. You're just like, wow, I wish I would have done that. I know it, but I wish I would have done it. And just a little reminder here and there. So it doesn't matter if you're in sports, if you're in business, if you're law enforcement, a fireman, military, it doesn't matter. This book is for everybody. It's geared specifically towards high school and college athletes, but I don't think there's a person in the world that couldn't gain something from reading this book.
I love hearing that. When COVID hit, my trainer's like, okay, what equipment do you have at your house? Right. So I gave him a list and he wrote me back. He says, why don't you go and get some bands and put that pull-up bar rack that he gave me up in the ceiling. Right. So I did. And he sent some of the most incredible workout programs with bands, as well as Ryan Fisher, who's been on my show before. He's a CrossFit champion years ago. But what's interesting about that, and the reason why I bring it up, and I think it's the benefit of books like this that you have coming out, is that we don't know it all. And these books gives us tools to excel, with things that we might have or things that are easily obtainable, even if it's just a commitment of time to read the book. And, I have to emphasize the importance of coaches and tools and what you're doing. Even the top athletes in the world have coaches every day, and we seem to miss that.
Right. One of the things I learned in my psychology degrees was even the shrink needs a shrink. So everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs someone to bounce ideas off of, to give them help when they need it. It's just the way of the world. It's a mentor. It's a transfer of knowledge. It has to be there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your background and your service, of course. Thank you for that. And Clay, we look forward to the book coming out. We'll make sure that we put the website link in the show notes, and people can be on the lookout. I also notice your Instagram account is, what is that? Ready.Player.WIN. I'm sure you'll be posting up when your book comes out there. So I just want to thank you for your time.
Sure. And Jim, I'd like to offer something to the listeners. First 5 people that sign up through my website, READY.PLAYER.WIN.com, I will give you a free 30-minute one-on-one consultation. If you're ambitious, you're ready to commit to becoming your best self, it's time to be proactive, reach your highest potential. Stop making excuses, go the extra mile for yourself. We want to see you win.
I love it, man. I'm going to put my email in there right now. Clay, thank you so much. I appreciate that offer for our listeners. Really do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you for listening to today's show. It is my pleasure and honor to interview all of the guests that have been on the Answer is Yes podcast. If you have enjoyed the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, give a rating, or simply tell a friend about the show. We also believe in the message of our guests and the positive influence of their stories. As my own mentor and coach, David Meltzer, has taught me, spend some time every day thinking and writing about the things in your own life that you have more than enough of. You will find out how blessed we really are. Please visit my website, livelifedriven.com, for the latest updates about me and what I'm doing. Plus, I post a monthly blog about the many topics on this show. This podcast can also be found there. As I learned early on in life, what you believe is what you will achieve. Thanks, Mark Victor Hansen, and thank you, and have a great week.